All right. Happy Monday. Happy Monday rolling out. This is your host, Crystal Jordan. And of course, it's another edition of Reality Check. Now, today we have back-to-back reality checks because we have actress Ashli Haynes is going to join me here in just a few minutes for the first reality check here at 8 o'clock. And then at 8:30, you don't want to miss this. Tune in for two of the ladies from Owns Ready to Love. They're going to join me. Two of the bachelorettes that were recently expelled from the show are going to join us and talk about their experience. But my first guest, like I mentioned, her name is Ashli Haynes, and she is a part of this new young actress, writer, producer. She is one of the stars of Leimert Park, and she's also on one of my new favorite series, 20s. So please help me welcome the very beautiful Ashli Haynes. Welcome, Ashli.
Hi, thanks for having me, Crystal.
Thank you for joining us. Are you based here in Atlanta?
No, I'm actually in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. So it's a little bit, your time is a little bit different than ours. We have been flooded today. If you guys are in watching this from Atlanta, I hope that you've stayed dry. It has rained. We've had thunderstorms and tornadoes the entire day. It's been crazy. So
Wow.
we're jealous of you right now. Out in LA, I'm sure the weather is much nicer out there.
Bright and sunny.
Always, always. LA has the best weather. Well, I've mentioned, when I was doing research on you, I'm familiar with 20s. I definitely am excited about Leimert Park. You seem to be a part of this new class of young actresses that are basically tackling issues and basically you guys are not waiting for other people to produce shows for you. You guys are doing it for yourself. And I'm excited about it. Tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming an actress.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for grouping me in with all of the amazing people that are on the come up. It's been a long journey. Actually, I started acting as a child in New York City. I'm originally from the Bronx, and I went to high school for theater. I went to PPAS, and so I started out when I was very young and then decided I'm going to move to LA to pursue acting in film and TV. And so I've been here for a while,
Okay.
and it's been challenging. It's been tough. But it's getting better, hopefully. I feel like I feel like before you actually start working, there's this common belief that, like, oh, I just need a big break.
Right.
And once I get that big break, then it's just gonna be easy, and
Hmm.
and the offers will come rolling in. But that's
Yeah.
actually not the reality. You need more than just one break. You need
Right.
break after break after break. Like, it's consistent hard work. You gotta go to class. You've gotta, I guess, be friendly with the people you're working with who are also coming up with you as well. And it's a grind, but it's also very rewarding, especially when you book.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Well, I think it's almost like a series of little breaks that equal that big break, And I think I love the fact that you said a lot of people look at it and they assume one thing when you're looking from the outside in. It just looks like Taraji, got a great movie and then it just kept going and kept going and kept going. But it's really not like that. I think what do they say? Overnight success is usually take at least 10 years, to be an
Yeah.
overnight success.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that you mentioned Taraji. You did mention Taraji, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because recently she's been posting clips of, like, old work from back in the day when she was just, a guest star or had a small role on these sitcoms and all of this. And I'm so grateful that she's actually doing that,
Yeah.
because it gives insight as to, like, how consistent, how diligent, how hardworking and committed and dedicated you have to be. When I first moved to LA, I
Mm-hmm.
went to Robbie Reed has this party every summer, right? And so a friend of mine got me on the list to go to this party. His name is Robert Zuckerman. He's like this big time set photographer and good
Mm-hmm.
friends with Robbie. So he got me on the list. I go to this party, and then I met the actress that played the aunt on Family Matters.
Okay.
And Telma
Hey, Telma. Oh my gosh.
Is it Houston? It's not Houston.
No, it's not
Thompson.
Houston.
Is it Telma Thompson? I don't know. I'm sorry if I got her name wrong.
That's okay. We're pulling it up. We have
Aunt Rachel, right?
Yeah.
And so I meet this lady, and she says to me, you know, I was with two other a producer and an editor at the time, who'd been in Hollywood for a while. This older Black couple, amazing. Anyway, so they introduced me to her because they're friends, and she says to me, if the thought of acting and the thought of becoming successful doesn't make you want to cry and then get up and try again, quit now.
Wow. And her name is Telma Hopkins.
Hopkins, yeah.
Yeah, she played Rachel. Wow.
Yeah, and she was absolutely right. Yeah, exactly. And I didn't get it at first because I was so young, and I'm like, why would anybody say that? But no, she was spot on. So thank you, Telma. Thank you, Telma Hopkins.
I love that you referenced Taraji. I think that, you know, we talk this show is, we have some great guys that tune in. We have Hey Jeffrey that has tuned in now, but usually we have a lot of females that listen. And I think that we can learn so much from each other's examples. And usually some of the wisdom that you need is right there, you know. So I love the fact that you're watching Taraji's post and pulling from her example and applying that, you know, to your own journey. I'm sure that's why she's doing it. So that's a great example. And that was a great reality check that Telma Hopkins shared with you. That is really important. I think in anything, regardless of what you want to do, you cannot do it for the money. You need to be able to do it for, I guess that's passion that drives you. Well, I have a clip from Leimert Park because I wanted to share that. I think it really speaks to the project, and I would love to hear, you know, what the reception has been in your opinion. And for those of our viewers that have not seen Leimert Park, I think this will be a really good introduction. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and play this clip, and then we're going to ask you to kind of give us some context to it. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay.
Leimert Park is a digital series about 3 millennial women living in a historically Black neighborhood in South Los Angeles. Any Black artist from Los Angeles has walked through Leimert Park and has left some of their juju there for anybody else to come and pick up, which I did when I decided to make Leimert Park. So we have Mickey. Mickey is what you would say is like the den mother of the house. Like, she takes care of everybody, she makes sure that everyone's okay, but so much so that she hasn't made sure that she's okay. And at the beginning of our series, she hasn't had an orgasm in 3 months, which is terrible. And she's trying to figure out, you know, how to get through that. Then we have Kendra, whose only real goal in life is to be famous, and we all have friends who all they want to do is be famous, but she's educated, she's actually an artist, and she's trying to find her voice. And then we have Bridget, who is like the little sister that you never really wanted because you have to watch her all the time. She just doesn't know, she's naive, she came from a very sheltered background, and she's also trying to make it out on her own for the very first time. Another issue that I have with the portrayal of African American women in the media, whether it be reality TV or scripted, is that we, you know, either sexually speaking, we either are, you know, the preacher's daughters, the preacher's wives with no sexual life at all, or we're the video hoes. And my 3 girls, Mickey, Kendra, and Bridget, they exist in the spaces between.
All right. So talk a little bit about, obviously you are the little sister
that nobody's ever wanted.
Talk about your character on Leimert Park, Bridget, and tell us a little bit about her reality and her struggles.
Yeah. So first of all, that was actually a clip of promo for Leimert Park. That wasn't actually a clip from Leimert Park. So I just wanted to make that clear. But so Bridget she's young, she's naive, she's a hopeless romantic. She believes in soulmates. And all she wants is to, you know, find her soulmate, fall in love, live happily ever after, have a successful career, of course. And so because she's naive and comes from a sheltered background, she can get herself into trouble. which I think it's based in reality. It's real. That's natural that's a natural part of our journeys, coming into our own, coming into womanhood, right? And I think what's really interesting about how Bridget particularly is portrayed in Leimert Park is that she's human, and she's human, and she's desired, and she's soft. She's not this aggressive. And I mean, Black women in the media, in television and film, often are portrayed as aggressive, as bitter, as promiscuous, as, you know what I mean? And in Leimert, she has room to breathe and exist and be human, and go through the different phases of evolution and development, in her journey, right? And of course there are always those like cringeworthy moments, or like, oh my god, you know what I mean? But that's what's fun, and that's what's also relatable about the show.
I agree. You know what? I think another thing that in my opinion, we haven't seen Black actresses or Black women be able to be is really naive. Like, we have to be the all-knowing best friend that, like, you know, with the smart mouth. But to actually see an innocence there, I love that idea, because it's like we're not a monolith. So there's some of us that are goofy, some of us are naive. So I love the fact that you guys are providing like a collective vantage point of different, you know, not all of us are the same, but that doesn't mean that we don't all have commonalities. And I love the sexual reference, because that definitely has been an issue as well. The show addresses one of the things that I think millennials are really, you know, doing differently than other generations, is showing some of the, you know, just being very honest and open about how they feel about certain things. So in that clip, that promo clip, they referenced the fact of one of the characters not ever having an orgasm. Tell us a little bit about that, I guess that scenario, because that's something we know Black women have for years not really felt comfortable talking about their sexual experiences. We are shown as the sex, you know, very oversexed, but that intimate conversation we definitely shy away from.
Right, absolutely. Well, that character, she's married and she hasn't had an orgasm in months. And it's interesting to see her journey, because in the beginning she starts out not so comfortable talking about it and sharing, because I mean, it doesn't matter if you're single or married. There's always this face, this front that we want to present to the world, that we're perfect, you know, and if we're not perfect, we're pretty close to it. You know what I mean? And so it's interesting to see how she confides in her friends. The way the conversation opens up is with the idea of like using a yoni egg, you know, so 3 yoni eggs are presented, and like they don't know what yoni eggs are, and you know, so it's interesting to like see them learn about the yoni eggs and then actually integrate the yoni egg into their life and sexual practices.
Interesting. Well, talk a little bit about your role as Courtney on 20s. I know that the series is coming back for a second season, correct?
Yes.
So talk about, like I said, a girlfriend of mine, Angela, got me hooked on that show. And I know that Lena Waithe is a producer. I believe it's loosely based on her experiences when she was younger. Is that correct?
Yeah. The show's loosely based on Lena Waithe's experience as an early 20-something moving to LA and pursuing a career in writing. So
tell us about Courtney.
So Courtney, she's the main character's work nemesis, right? Mm-hmm. So if for those of you who did not see the first season, Courtney's kind of the bitch, you know what I mean? But she's not really a bitch. She just tells it like it is and expresses herself in an authentic way. And she doesn't really care that people know, particularly Hattie. She doesn't really care that Hattie knows she doesn't like her. In fact, she wants Hattie to know she doesn't like her, but she has her reasons, you know what I mean? And then I think towards the end of the first season, you realize, or Courtney, I guess, maybe Hattie rubs off on her in a good way. You know what I mean? Towards it, where she becomes like tolerable. And so Courtney's not so harsh as she is towards her when we first meet her.
Right.
So yeah, I loved playing her. I can relate to her in some ways. I'd like to think that I'm a bit more tactful when it comes to me expressing myself, but I'm a genuine, authentic person. So I loved taking on the role.
Nice. Well, speaking of being authentic, I learned that you also an entrepreneur as well. You have a set of what you've called intentional candles. So when I looked at them, I thought like, wow, this is candles basically mixed with affirmations. Does that sound right?
Yeah. I mean, so each candle, so I don't want to make this like this big long thing, right? But so basically intentional candles, you use an intentional candle to help you manifest whatever it is you're calling in, right? So your heart's desires. And
Mhm.
each candle actually comes with an intention prayer, which helps you set your own specific intention with that candle. So does it involve affirmations? I guess it depends on like which candle you get. So like I have a candle called I Am Love, and in the prayer there's a line about how I am a divine spiritual being worthy of the abundance of love the universe has for me. So in that way, like, yes, there are like it's still the same energy, it's still the same vibe.
Right. Right. Nice. How did you get started doing that?
So I experienced a dark night of the soul, if you will, in 2018. It was the first Mercury retrograde of 2018. And that kind of threw me into my conscious spiritual journey, because I believe life in itself is a spiritual journey. It
Right.
just, we're not always conscious of that fact until we experience, oftentimes traumatic
Right.
experiences.
Right.
So yeah, I started on my spiritual journey, my conscious spiritual journey. I started grounding daily and praying and meditating and journaling. And during my meditations, eventually I became open um, to I guess receiving messages or downloads. And so that kind of geared me towards working with herbs and making intention oils. And I started using those oils to dress tea lights and lighting those candles. And then I started having visions of my own candles, like visions of what the candles looked like, but also like how I was going to make them. It was really wild, because I'd find myself in conversation not talking about my candles, but all of a sudden I'm literally seeing my candles being made. Like it's crazy. So I'm like, okay, I need to just make these candles, and so that's how I got started. I started an Etsy shop, and yeah, that's it. So my candles, they have the intention oil in them, and they have crystals and herbs, and the energy of the oils, the crystals, the herbs collaborate to help you manifest whatever it is you want.
Wow, that's interesting. Tell people how can people get them? I know if you, I believe your Etsy link is on your social media page, correct?
Yes. So my Etsy link is on my candle Instagram. My handle is at Star Magic by Ashli. Ashli spelled ASHLI. But also on Etsy, it's Star Magic by Ashli, one word. So if you were to search that shop, it'll come up.
Okay. Now I have to ask you because I'm not necessarily into tarot readings. I'm a big zodiac follower. I definitely feel like there's commonalities and too much synergy in some of that. But I saw in your bio that you are a tarot reader. So I asked you, I'd love to hear how you started doing that, and how has that experience been, just sharing with people and seeing their feedback? Like what is that like?
So I use tarot as a tool to receive guidance or gain clarity from spirit, God, source, the universe, whatever you believe in. So really tarot just picks up on energy. It picks up on a snapshot of the current energy, right? And I always tell my clients, use tarot as a tool to empower you to make decisions, to change the trajectory of your life if you want. So it's not about like, this is fate and fate is set in stone, because a lot of things we can actually change. We just need to be open, and we also need to to be committed, right? To be committed to creating the life that we want. And so energy is fluid, right? And so I might pick up on the energy, hopefully, of the sitter, but I could pick up on the energy that's around them, whether that's a situation or people or even someone from the other side. So that's how I use it. And I think it's a beautiful tool, and it is as above, so below. Like, it's all connected. I actually incorporate astrology and numerology in my readings as well. So
nice.
yeah.
So how do you do that? Well, right now, I'm sure, because we're just slowly coming out of this pandemic a little bit. Have you been doing that on virtually or on the phone? How does that work?
So to book a reading with me, you could just email me or slide in my DMs. And I host readings virtually. So over Zoom or FaceTime, whichever you prefer. And I literally just tap into you. Like, it's really best to be specific, to ask specific questions.
Right.
Of course, you can always ask for general guidance, but the more specific you are, the more specific the answers will be that will actually give you clear direction.
Okay. Well, you are a very interesting young lady. I thank you for sharing. You had a lot more with the actress, and then she's also candles and tarot readings. That's beautiful. I love seeing us out there doing it and not holding ourselves hostage to one thing. I think for a long time we did that. So we wish you much success on all your endeavors. Definitely come back when you have new projects. How can people see Leimert Park if they have not seen it yet?
So Leimert Park is currently streaming on BET Plus. So you would just go to BET Plus, which is available on, I think, Amazon, Apple TV. There's an app. And if you're not a BET subscriber, like if you don't have a BET subscription, you can actually purchase the BET Plus app. But you can also sign up for a 7-day free trial and just cancel after you watch Leimert Park.
Leimert Park and then let it go. And then go ahead and resubscribe once the next season comes out.
Right, exactly.
Well, we wish you so much success. Thank you for sharing with us. I love that reality check tip that you share with us that you got from Thelma Hopkins. That's a great nugget that I hope our listeners, take for their very own. And then also being able to, like I said, pull from the example of, Taraji, the great Taraji Henson as well. So I'm sure we'll be pulling from your example soon, Miss Ashli. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Now, you guys, do not move. Do not move. Actually, if you need to go get something to snack on, go ahead and do that. Come right back. We have Tressa and Stacy from Ready to Love are going to join us right here at 8:30. So I will see you guys back. Do you guys remember Chuck Woolery? Probably not. Probably those of you that are listening are probably younger, too young to remember that. But Love Connection, the host Chuck Woolery would say, "I'll be right back in 2 and 2." So I will be right back. I'm going to take a 7-minute break. I will see you right back here on Rolling Out at 8:30. It's Monday, and we are starting the week off with some positivity, love, and all that good stuff. So I'll see you guys right back here in 2 seconds.